Greetings and welcome to Season 2 of the Spiritual Awareness Journey Program, a virtual spiritual talk platform where the practical application of all things spiritual in our daily living is shared and discussed by experienced speakers from all walks of life, as well as our special guests who are realized souls called Mahatmas. This program is brought to you by the Manav Dharam YouTube channel. I am your host, Janvi Nanda, and we are delighted to welcome you from all around the world to spend this precious moment with us as we address this episode's topic, the mind, friend or foe. As the CEO of our lives, our mind seems to be in charge of how and where we use or exchange our precious energies, as we consciously or unconsciously are constantly being guided by it, be it through our thoughts, our words, observation, activities, feelings, or actions. Our mind that is very, very busy achieving or bringing to fruition all that we, as human beings, desire, imagine, wish to accomplish, or even wish to become. We receive information about our state of being and environment by this mind that not only records but also stores and records our every action. And we, by giving it our focused attention, can achieve the unimaginable. Our mind is so subtle that it can go through walls, space, time, places, and dimensions in the blink of an eye. And what is the most incredible thing about this mind is that we can use it to go within and to connect with our heart, our being, and our soul. The question then is how? Our experienced panel, our speaker, Mr. Eduardo Herrera from Mexico, and our special guest speaker, Mahatma Suvidya Baiji, will elaborate on this most powerful gift we each as a human being have received to navigate our lives and reach our final destination. In this human existence, we as spiritual beings have this ability, through the focusing of our mind, connect and commune with the divine within, our original spiritual source. And by achieving this higher state of consciousness, we can feel whole and complete as we may bask in the state of pure love, light, and bliss. We hope our speakers will inspire you to seek for this higher state of awareness by inquiring about the spiritual knowledge to become conscious of the spiritual being residing within, and forge a true connection with our own true spirit, our soul, and start our own practical spiritual awareness journey. As we belong to this one race, the human race, we as spiritual beings have the potential through the focusing of our mind on the most high, the most positive vibration, attain our true goal, enlightenment, with the potential to create a spiritual enlightened world where peace, joy, contentment, and bliss will reign. We are happy to announce that for this new season, we have slightly changed our program's format, as many expressed their wish to have an opportunity to ask questions. If time permits, we will open the platform for a short Q&A session at the end of the presentation of our speakers for anyone present to pose a question. We are looking forward to that. We're delighted to be back and to start our second season of the Spiritual Awareness Journey program today. We have our first speaker all the way from Mexico, Mr. Eduardo Herrera. Mr. Eduardo Herrera was born in Guadalajara, Mexico. He is 39 years old and everyone calls him Lalo. He is an industrial engineer with a finance and merchandising diploma. He works at an international sports gear company, creating elevated consumer shopping experiences at brick and mortar and digital. Due to his job, he had lived in the USA and now resides in Mexico City. He enjoys his free time practicing Ashtanga yoga, running, having good food, traveling, and spending time with his family. Thank you, Eduardo.
Thank you, Jenby, for that kind introduction. And good morning and good evening, everyone. I'm super happy to be here with you, and we will be talking about our minds. How can the mind be our friend or detect when our mind is really an enemy for us? So to start today's conversation, I would like to do a quick exercise. I will ask you to close your eyes, and then I will ask you 3 questions and try to answer these questions inside your mind. Okay, so let's begin. Close your eyes and answer this question. The first one, have you felt stress over the last 12 months due to COVID and all the uncertainty that is going around the world? The second question, how old were you when you failed your first school test? Third question, when someone tells you you don't belong or that you are not welcome and that you cannot participate, how does this make you feel? Okay, now open your eyes, shake a little bit your head, and now I'm going to ask you three different kind of questions. But before we do this, let's practice some breathing technique. So we will be inhaling and exhaling, but we will do this in 4 times. So I will count you through it. So you can close your eyes, smoothly close your eyes, and we will start inhaling in 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Last time, inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now the three next questions. Again, if you have your eyes open, try to close them smoothly and answer these questions in your mind. First one, where do you want to go on vacations the next time you can travel? Second question, what is the latest news you want to share with your best friend the next time you see him? And last question, what is your favorite color? Now open your eyes and start listening to this conversation. So my point here, and I hope you kind of grasp it, is that the mind is super fast and it can go from the past to the present to the future, from real things, from unreal things, and from one place to another. And really the mind can take you into a negative direction. If you put your mind into those specific negative thoughts, it can leave you into a not positive realm. But again, if you change the direction of your thoughts, it can lead you into a more constructive or in a better feeling. No, it will change the mood that you're presently in. Okay, so the first concept I like to introduce is that we have to make the mind our friend, right? So in order to do this, we have to slow down. So why is it important that we slow down our mind? And I will try to explain this in an easy way. But the main concept is that when in motion, our mind, when the mind is around the world and is collecting and engaging with the world, it will collect sanskaras. And sanskaras is a Sanskrit word to describe world impressions. And these impressions will go with you and can potentially pollute you. So imagine that you are on the street and you're walking around and you step over a mud, no? Maybe it was raining or maybe it was some dirt that was around the street and you step on it and you don't realize and you keep on walking. So the mud will stick on the sole of your shoe, and when you get to your house, it has the potential to pollute your house because you will be spreading mud on the floor of your house, right? Because it got stuck and you were helpless. You didn't realize you had some mud on the sole of your shoe. So it was the same when the pandemic started. No, the scientists told us that we have to wash our hands, we have to wash our groceries to prevent that particles of the virus that were there can potentially get into our body and infect us. So in the same way, when we are angry and we continue to be angry again and again with a person, let's say, then you will create a grudge, no? And when you have a grudge against someone, this grudge can maybe lead you into do harmful things or talk badly about someone person. And that activity can harm you and will pollute your mind and potentially can pollute your soul. So see how everything is connected, everything is related. The things you do in the world can affect your mind, thus it can affect your soul. So it can contaminate your soul. No, so that's the reason it's very important that we slow our mind, that we don't go to one place to another, because we can potentially grasp some pollution. Also think that our mind is like a car. So when you want to go to one place to another, you have to get inside the car. You will get the car in motion, and then when you reach your destination, you have to stop the car and get down the car. So that's very important. Once you have arrived to your destination, you have to stop the car in order to experience the outside. You can experience the weather, you can appreciate the colors, you can interact with the people that you were planning to interact, and you can experience the outside, everything that is there. So that is the same with our mind. The mind is an amazing vehicle that can get us to many places. But in order to experience something else, something that is not material, we have to step off the car. In order to stop experiencing that material realm, we have to go outside, and then we will experience something different, something that we call is spiritual. So I will elaborate a little bit more on this concept with this example. So once there was a man that he was going to see a wise sage every week. So on the way to see this wise sage, he will stop at a local coffee shop to get some coffee. So once the owner asked him, "So why do you go to see this man?" And he replied, maybe I call this person my guru, but this concept might be beyond your understanding. So let's say this person helps me to get free from the change of the world. So the owner of the shop had a parrot, and the parrot was listening to this conversation. So one day, when the owner was not in the shop, he asked the man, "Please, ask this sage of yours, how can I get free from my cage?" So this person put the question, so this person followed, and he went to see the sage, and he put this question in front of the master. "Master, I've met a parrot, and the parrot is requesting an advice from you. How can he get free from his cage?" So at the moment the man stopped asking the question, the sage fainted, and it lay unconscious on the ground. So everybody was super shocked, and the reunion was terminated. So on the way back, the man stopped by the coffee shop, and he told the parrot, "You're very unlucky, because at the moment I told your question to my master, he fainted, and he looked like if he was left his body. So it was very scary situation. But the parrot, that was also very intelligent, he took the hint, and he held his breath and lay down on the cage floor. So when the shop owner came and he saw the situation, he exclaimed, "What a shame, what happened to my parrot? Is he dead? Oh my God, he's dead. I will miss him dearly. But what is it good for me now that he's dead?" So he opened the cage, he took the parrot in his hand, and the parrot was still holding his breath. And at the moment the owner took the parrot outside the cage, the parrot flew away. So everybody was like, wow, he got free from his cage. He tricked the master, he tricked the owner. So this is the same way. When we steady our mind, that honestly, our mind is like that parrot that is always talking and talking and talking nonsense. When we still our mind, we can be free from this cage of materialism. Hence, we can experience something that is spiritual. So the question now is, how do we steady our mind? How can we make our mind stable so it can experience something else, something that is beyond all this crazy materialism world? And the man has created breaks for everything except for our mind. No? Honestly, you cannot go to Home Depot or any store and say, "Hey, can I have a break for my mind?" That doesn't exist. So, for example, again, if you're in a car, the man has created a brake and you can stop your car. If you're using a microwave to heat up your food and maybe it's running longer than you thought, you can press the stop button and it will stop. If you're watching TV and you want it to stop, you can press the power button. But the man has not created a brake for our own minds. So how can we do this? No? And I'm sure everybody's familiar with the term meditation. This is something we hear it everywhere, and especially nowadays. So one of the main things or the basic things when you enter or you start practicing meditation is that someone would tell you, try to not think of anything. But honestly, that's very impossible because when you tell your mind don't think of anything, immediately the mind will start like thinking of all the things possible, and it will start questioning you. What is that nothing? Nothing doesn't exist. What do you mean? No. So the sages has told us that if we want to stop our mind, we have to do it with a very subtle mechanism. For example, if you want to hold an elephant or an ant, you will have to use different objects to do this activity. For example, if you want to hold an elephant, you have to get a big rope to put it around the foot so you can hold the elephant, you can tame the elephant. But if you want to do the same with an ant, you cannot use that big rope. You will have to get a small and very subtle thread to maybe put it around the ant, and then you will hold it. So in the same way, we already established that our mind is very fast and it can play tricks on us. So in order to hold our mind, we have to make it steady. We have to find a thing that is very subtle and it can catch the mind's attention. Because you have seen this. When the mind is working on something, when the attention of the mind is going in a certain direction, you can feel that all your brain power is going there. So now we have to find something that can tame the mind, that can make the mind stop wandering on the past, in the present, and in the future, that stop experiencing this materialism world and start experiencing something material. And that's the reason we are here in this program, a spiritual awareness journey, because we want to tell you that the mind has the capacity to practice a meditation. Your mind can learn a technique to focus on that subtle energy that makes the brain work and makes our life exist. No? So this is possible. The mind can focus in something that is inside of you that will catch the attention and will slow down all the crazy thoughts going around. The second concept I want to talk about the mind, how can we make the mind our friend, is the steering wheel example. Because the mind has the potential to determine where we want to go, no? And it is said that when the mind determines it wants to go somewhere, the body will follow. And honestly, everything else will follow your mind and your body. So we see this in our own life examples. If I take the determination to get my university diploma, then I will dedicate my time, my effort, my money, my actions to study, go to class, turn in papers, do teamwork, etc. No? So it's super important that the mind is under our control to have certainty of where we are going. However, when we take a determination to do something and we start doing that activity, there's some temptations that will come, and these temptations are the desires, and they lead us into wrong directions. For example, drugs, alcohol, lust, anger. So in order to satisfy these cravings, we can take decisions that will take our mind and our body to situations that we won't enjoy. So we experience the world through our own senses, but the information gets processed by the mind, by the brain. So when you are in a situation that you don't like, you have the potential power to decide how you want to react to that situation. For example, let's say you get angry in a conversation, and when you realize you are starting to get angry in that conversation, you can step out of that conversation to calm you down so you don't say anything harmful to that person. So I remember when I was a kid, my mom always told me, like, when you are angry and you get super angry and you want to say something bad, don't do it. Like, realize you're about to do it, stop, count to 10, calm down, and then reply. No? So it's kind of the same. I will give you another example. If you're stuck in traffic and you're desperate, you're in a hurry, you want to go to that place because they're expecting you, and you start to be aware of these feelings of, or frustration and anger, They won't do you any good because maybe at that time you want to rush, you will start cutting in front of cars, and maybe you can create a crash or an accident, and this won't be any good. On the other hand, if you realize that something is beyond your control, that this situation of the traffic and you being late is something that you cannot solve in that specific moment, and you realize that, and then you say your brain, how, what can we do? Honestly, what can we do? How can we be more creative? So you pay attention that anger won't lead you into a very good result. And instead, you say, okay, what can I do in this situation? And maybe you take your cell phone and you open Waze and you start looking into different routes so you can get faster to your destination. See? On the bottom line, your mind can choose the direction you go. Your mind can choose how to react to all the situations. So it can be your friend if you choose like good options, or it can be a foe if you get involved with this anger and all these very bad feelings. No, so on the very bad example, when the mind frequently goes into a not very good direction, we can get affected and we can get mental disorders. So the mental disorders also can lead you into other injuries like chronic stress, and then the chronic stress will reflect some symptoms on your body. And I will elaborate a little bit more on this. For example, I'm pretty sure you all have feel it that when you're super nervous about something, maybe you have to do a speech or do an exam, and you're nervous, you will feel that your stomach hurts. No, it's very common. So when you're worried about the future or worry about a problem, maybe you can't sleep at night. So your mind can potentially translate those worries and those thoughts into something that will harm your own organs and your body. So think of it. When the mind is not actively working or doing something, it starts popping up questions, theories, dilemmas, worries, dreams. So this is all a waste of energy. The mind is the orchestrator of the correct functioning of this body, the organs, and the health system. So for me alone, so that specific thing alone, that is a very good reason to actively work on making the mind our own friend, so it can take good care of us. So on the other hand, when we always choose positive direction, when we direct the mind into a positive actions, we are more creative and we can have access to our full potential. Look at the scientists. When they are working, they zoom out. They forget about the external things that are happening around them and they concentrate their mind power into the things they are trying to create, they are trying to solve, and they are trying to develop. So that is the reason they can create new things. Due to the brain power of some enlightened persons, we now have plenty of good technology advancements that make our life more comfortable, like the farming machines, or now we can have access to food and fruits all year long, even though they are not seasonal. We now have electric cars that can go around the world without polluting. There are planes that can quickly transport us to different places. We have medicines to treat our own diseases. And now we can even go to the space in a rock just for leisure. No, it's pretty impressive what the man has achieved. We also have cell phones. And not only the cell phones connect us globally with our loved ones, but it gives us access to purchase anything you want to purchase. You can learn anything as well. And right now we're having this amazing program due to the technology. So the mind is very powerful, and we need to direct this energy, this creative energy, into our own benefit and into our well being. So, in a nutshell, I share with you two topics. I share with you two tips to make our mind our friend. The first one is that the mind perceives the world and then reacts to it. So if you're aware of your own consciousness, if you reflect on what that little voice inside of your brain is telling you, you can choose the right direction And honestly, you can react better to life. So in this way, you can make your mind your own friend. And honestly, this is not easy. It takes years of practice to try to be on the present and to be aware of what your mind is telling you, that little voice, so you can take those decisions. And the second thing I share with you today is that the mind has the ability to experience more, something that is beyond our material world, something that can only be perceived when we quiet our thoughts. And to experience this, we need a spiritual technique to concentrate the mind into that energy. And this is the reason we are here, spiritual awareness journey. So thank you for listening to me. And now I want you to hear the expert that can teach us on how to convert the mind from friend and be our best friend so we can have access to this full potential. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eduardo, for your very, very wise words. I hope someone has taken away just even one small message from what Eduardo is talking about. I, in particular, took on board the example of being in a car and being stuck in traffic is something I'm used to on a daily basis. And I've learned to hold back my anger and realize that it will get me nowhere. And as you said, it could become dangerous. So I found that very, very inspirational. Thank you so, so much. So we are now going to move on, and we are honored to present our special guest speaker of the day, Mahatma Suvidya Baiji. Mahatma Suvidya Baiji is an enlightened saint from Haridwar in India. She is a disciple of the spiritual master Shri Satpalji Maharaj, the spiritual head of the Manav Dharam organization. She has successfully provided spiritual enlightenment for the past 2 decades in various parts of India, Kenya, South Africa, Canada, and Australia. Her mission is to uplift the soul of man by rendering spiritual discourses on the essence of all scriptures and teaching meditation and yoga to aspirants. It's a great privilege to be in the presence of Mahatma Suvidya Baiji today, and as Baiji will share with us her deep and personal spiritual understanding and experiences of this very, very interesting and intriguing topic, mind, friend or foe. Without further ado, we now have Mahatma Suvidya Baiji.
Greetings to one and all. It's a great pleasure to be part of Spiritual Awareness Journey program and to share my views on the topic mind, a friend or foe. The people who went for picnic were sharing their experience that, thank God, we took a donkey with us on the picnic. Because when one of the boys was injured, we used the donkey to carry him back. Someone asked, how did the boy get injured? The donkey, kicked him and he got hurt. It is really tricky to decide whether the donkey was helping or harming. In the same way, to say whether the mind is our friend or our enemy is very tricky. First, let's understand the mind. What is mind? American Heritage Dictionary defines mind as the collective and unconscious processes in a sentient organism that direct and influence mental and physical behavior. Lord Buddha says, faring far, wandering alone, bodiless, lying in the bodily cave is mind. According to spirituality, mind is a faculty of spirit and the object of the soul. Mind is the subtle form of matter. Mind is partly physical and partly paraphysical. Mind is just like a magnetic power in the magnet. Magnet has a limit, magnet has a boundary, but the force of the magnet has no limitations. Magnet has a dimension, but the force has no dimension. Mind is like the force of matter. A magnet has magnetism. In the same way, body becomes like a magnet, and the power of the body, the magnet, becomes the mind. The mind, the magnetic power of the body, which can penetrate physical things. One could be sitting in a tightly closed room. Nobody can go in or out, but the mind will go out. Another analogy given to understand mind is of a wax. Wax is neither solid like a rock or liquid like the water. Mind is neither sentient nor insentient. Mind is neither physical nor spiritual. It is in between. Let's understand with the example of a car. How does the function of mind in human body? In the car, the function of wheels is to carry the car along the road. The function of an engine is to turn the wheels. The brake is to stop the car and indicator to show to turn right or left. All these parts of perform their assigned functions. If the car is expensive and is in perfect condition, still it all depends on the steering wheel. When the steering wheel turns left or right, the whole car turns left or right. The mind is like the steering wheel. In which direction mind will go, the whole body will go in that direction. When the mind goes in the wrong direction, the body and all its force turn in the wrong direction. Even if the body is perfect, you may have a great intellect and potential. If mind is not controlled, if it is not steady, this beautiful body is going to swing left and right. When our mind is connected to the worldly matters, to the physical senses, become unsteady. Uncontrolled mind can disturb us with fear, suspicion and doubt, imaging every sort of a problem, difficulty and calamity. Unsteady mind can create the negative emotions of attachment, greed, envy, jealous, anxiety, conflicts, agitation and anger. Mind play is high when man is guided by the desire of mind. Hence, the uncontrolled mind is the biggest enemy of mankind. Now let's understand how to see the fluctuation of mind. There is a brake to a car. There is a brake to an aeroplane and to a train. But there is no brake invented to curb the mind. Everything is vibrating in the universe. The human mind is also vibrating. The vibration of mind is much faster than the vibration of any solid, gas or liquid. All the material things that we have a lesser vibration than that mind's vibration. The velocity of mind is so high that it can penetrate anything. In order to concentrate the mind, which is running at very high velocity, we cannot use the worldly things which is in very low vibration. We need something faster, subtler, powerful to control the mind. Great sages have said that the mind can be controlled only when a person connects the unsteady mind to the soul, life force, which is eternal, stationary, and subtlest in the nature. With the help of spiritual knowledge, first one can realize the soul and then can connect mind with the soul through meditation practice. Mind is activated by the life force. As the waves arise in the ocean and then fall back into it. In the same way, if we can make the mind merge into its source, if we reabsorb the mind into the soul, mental activity will cease. Mind will be perfectly controlled. Mind is a tool of power. It can be an excellent friend if it gets guided by the soul. Mind has a unique characteristics to expand and shift our attention into a new direction over time when it is connected to the metaphysic or to spiritual entity. That's why it is said that one who has controlled the mind has controlled everything. For the power of concentration, the example of laser light is a good analogy. When the light photons become so concentrated that they become so powerful laser beam that there is no deviation, no dissipation of it at all. The power of concentration of human mind can be simply amazing. Few of the mind's psychic and supernatural powers are telepathy, refers to mind-to-mind communication without the intervention of the senses. Clairvoyance refers to the mind to picking information from the environment. Psychokinesis, which refers mind over matter. Biological clock programs the body to follow a 24 rhythm. As per scientific studies, the left and right brain works on the different waves in the brain, alpha, beta, theta, and delta. When mind is restless, it creates beta or theta waves in the brain, which activate left brain. When mind is concentrated, it creates delta waves, which activate the right brain. And when our mind enters the right brain, we realize the peace and happiness. We cultivate various virtues like stability, cheerfulness, understanding, compassion, disinterest in sensual pleasures, and free us from the pairs of opposites like love and hate, pleasure and pain, satisfaction and frustration, honor and dishonor, self-esteem and inadequacy. The power of a concentrated mind is limitless. The mental energy hidden within all of us. And sages urge to awaken this power and manifest the potentiality. Great sages advise us not to dissipate this mental energy into the world, but by the practice of meditation, unite it with the life force. The mind is an amazing asset that keeps our body functioning and is clearly framed. But it has some characteristics that periodically make it a form. Since the mind is such a powerful machine fitted into our bodies, it can work as a two-edged sword, Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. One can slide to negative levels because of their unsteady mind, while those who attain sublime heights because of their purified mind. A person with an unsubdued mind chases after the sensual perception of pleasure and recoils from the perceptions of pain. One who conquers the mind is able to see these fleeting perceptions as the workings of the bodily senses, distinct from the immortal soul, and thus remain unmoved by them. A person may use electricity to electrocute a man or to save people. The electricity is not doing it. It's the person who uses the electricity. In the same way, the mind is like a person inside us who uses the power of soul in order to dissipate our energy or to concentrate our energy. So, mind is neither a friend nor foe. It depends on a person how he is using his mind, whether he allows his mind to be in a state of restlessness or in a state of calm and steady. It is our choice whether we want to make mind our friend or the enemy. I would like to share a story of a master and disciple in this regard. A master and his disciple were strolling on the beach by the ocean. It was a cold day. The wind was blowing strongly over the ocean, raising very high waves. After walking for some time, Master asked his disciple, "What does the choppy ocean remind you?" "It reminds me of my mind, my rushing and restless thoughts," disciple answered. "Yes, the stormy ocean is like the mind, and the waves are the thoughts. The mind is neutral like the water. It is neither good or bad. The wind is creating the waves as desires and fears produce thoughts." Disciple asked, "I want to calm down the wave of my mind." Master said, "You don't need to calm the ocean by holding the water and not letting it move. Your thoughts, desires, and fears like the wind. You need to calm them down. You need to learn to control them by diverting your attention focus from outer material world to inner spiritual world. When you control your mind, make it peaceful. You will have more control of your life." So the moral of the speech is that when the mind is running towards worldly pleasures, it becomes unstable. An unsteady mind brings negativity and vices, which makes life miserable. So in this context, unsteady mind is the worst enemy to mankind. Whereas when mind is connected with the soul, it becomes calm and steady. The steady mind brings numerous virtues and stability in life. And in this context, stable mind is the best friend to mankind. I will conclude my speech with the poem of Walter D. Winter. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win, but you think you can't, it is almost certain you won't. If you think you will lose, you are lost. For out of the world we find success begins with a fellow will. It is all in the state of mind. Life battle don't always go to the stronger or faster man. But sooner or later, the man who wins is the man who thinks can. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Baiji. We are incredibly grateful for your very powerful and inspiring words. I hope someone has taken away even a small part of Baiji's message here today. So we have actually received some questions for Mahatma Suvidya Baiji. The first question that we would like to ask is, as you mentioned in your speech, Baiji, what is spiritual knowledge?
Spiritual knowledge, I would like to explain in a very logical and very scientific way. If you throw a stone in the air, after traveling a certain distance, it reaches the point where it stops. It becomes stationary. If your car runs out of gas, it will automatically stop. The ultimate state of everything in the world is the state of rest, of stability. How does the wandering mind become stable? Through concentration on something which is itself unchanging, stationary, and eternal will stabilize the mind. The supreme energy which has no beginning and no end. It is stationary and eternal. So when we connect our mind with the energy, our mind will become stable. So spiritual knowledge is a knowledge of a soul. Spiritual knowledge is how to realize the energy, the soul, through the technique of meditation. And through technique of meditation, one will be able to connect with the soul. Then the true potential of soul manifests within. So spiritual knowledge is to realize the paraphysical existence of us.
Thank you, Baiji. I think that was very well put, quite simple terms and very easy to understand. So the second question being spiritual knowledge, is this a course? Is there a time limit to use the spiritual knowledge?
Spiritual knowledge is the knowledge of self-realization. Realization of self, the energy part, which normally we do not acknowledge in our day-to-day life. The purpose of knowledge is to remember our true self, that I am not soul, I am the soul, not this body. Soul is eternal and the body is temporary. It is about our identity. First you receive the knowledge, then practice it continuously for lifetime. Just like one who studied the medicine, then throughout the life you practice as a doctor. So spiritual knowledge is to become a better human being. So far we are alive, we have to use a spiritual knowledge for the betterment of our life.
Thank you, Baiji. That was very well put once again. And we have one more question, and this question is, I think, quite an important one. Where can we get the spiritual knowledge?
So, if we want to learn English, we go to English teacher. To learn music, we will go to music teacher. To learn Sanskrit, we go to Sanskrit teacher. In the same way, to learn spirituality, one has to go to a teacher of a spirituality. And one can receive spiritual knowledge from the spiritual master. Spiritual master who is the scientist of a spirituality. He teaches about the mystery of soul, how to tap into the spiritual realm within. So living spiritual master is a must for spiritual knowledge. So those who are seeking for spiritual knowledge must seek for living spiritual master.
Thank you, Baiji. We are very, very grateful for your kind and informative answers. I hope that these questions and answers have left us feeling enlightened and wanting to seek more. Please feel free to view any of our Spiritual Awareness Journey's previous episodes of Season 1 on the Manav Dharam YouTube channel, which address these questions that have been asked and answered in more detail, such as the Spiritual Awakening episode, Spiritual Meditation, and the Need of a Living Master. And there are many, many more to watch as well. I wish to thank you each for your presence here on the Spiritual Talk platform today. We hope you have thoroughly enjoyed today's episode. Please feel free to drop us a note with your comments, and if you have any questions at all or any comments for our guests, please email us at spiritualawarenessjourney@gmail.com. This has been put into the chat box below if you would like to have a look. Our next Spiritual Awareness Journey program will be held on Saturday, October 16th, 2021. Episode 17 will be on the topic Breath, Life's Elixir. I thoroughly hope today's episode has brought some deeper insight on this phenomenal gift of our mind. A huge thank you to both our speakers, and thank you to everyone who has joined us once again. Thank you to our sponsor, Manav Dharam YouTube channel. I'm your host, Janvi Nanda, and from all of us here on the Spiritual Awareness Journey platform, we wish you a healthy, bright, and focused journey ahead. See you soon.